Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing a deck profile this time on the brand new leader from the new OP05 set, Belo. Now this deck is a lot of fun. This is basically ZORO, but just way more aggro, mainly if your opponent swings at your life, because it mostly plays its cards via triggers, but this leader just buffs them up and you can just take your opponent to town. The amount of aggro that this deck can do is crazy, but really only if you hit your good trigger potties, but you can set up cards by hard casting them, and we're going to get into how. So let's get straight into the deck profile. This is our leader, Belo, a red-yellow 4-life leader, normal 5k, but some leaders can always change in power, but her main gimmick is that you trash one card from hand up to 3 of your revolutionary characters, or your trigger characters will gain 3k. Now this is amazing, because if your opponent's swinging at your life and you just play cards via trigger, you can have a board established and just start swinging. This is a really nice leader that buffs up your battle cards, and I just genuinely, one, I love the character, and 2, I love the gimmick of the deck. Very nice. So that's what the leader does. We have the nice alt art right there, and we're going to get straight into the deck. Off the bat, we are running 4 of the 1-drop searchers, pretty generic searcher, just like your Nami. You're going to look up top 5, grab a revolutionary army, and just add it to your hand. The rest will go to the bottom of the deck. Because it is a 2k card, but leader can buff it up, and it'll become a 5k early game, which is very, very nice. Just makes this lethal for free. Basically for free. No mana needed to make it stronger, which is very good. It's just a 1k cost, 1k counter card. So nothing too crazy on that, but here we have some of our 2Ks. We have a Koala. I haven't really found too many times where I end up playing her to neg something, but I'm sure it'll come up eventually. She's usually just good for the defense. Basically on play, if your leader is a revolutionary army, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k, which actually is pretty good. If your opponent has some annoying bodies on board, you can play this, and then your leader can either swing at it or maybe some cards in your battle area. Very, very nice. Not a bad card. Pretty generic. It's kind of good that they locked it to revolutionary army, because I would hate to fight that against other certain red decks. Right here we have a non-trigger body, but still a very powerful and annoying card. We have Kurasu. So right here, costs 4 to play him. He's a 5k card. On play, if your leader is the revolutionary army type, give up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters minus 1k power for the turn. Now, if you have bodies established and they're beefed up, and then you play this guy, your opponent is just going to be in for a rough time if they do not have blockers established. This guy can just make your opponent's 5k leader a 4, and you just go in. This card is ridiculous, but it only gets better, because when he attacks, if this character has 7k or more power, you can then minus another leader or character card 1k again. This card is ridiculous, and I'm so glad it's locked to Revolutionary Army. I cannot wait for this deck to get more support. In the new Japanese set, this deck actually did get support, and we're going to go over that later on. But first, we're going to go over this. Our next playset is going to be Emporio Ivanov. A very, very nice card to get your bodies out early. Here's what he does. Active main, once per turn, if this card is 7k or more power, play up to 1 revolutionary army type character card with 5k or less other than Emporio Ivanov. Now this is good, because what I've seen, comes up sometimes is you play him past and it's your turn. If he survived, you can just give him 3 Dawn. You can play, there's a certain rush card in this deck, and then Belo can then beef up the rush card, this, and maybe 2 other targets. So just donning this up and getting the effect is pretty good. I believe that card is actually, yep, here it is. This card's coming up right up next. I like playing this at 4. I might reduce it to 3. This is still in the testing phase. So this is definitely going to need some work. Use this as a base if you're going to build it. But it's overall still fun in the testing. But this card, we have Ena Zuma, which is what I tend to play off of the Emporio Ivanov, and here's why. If you have a character with 7k or more power other than this character, he gains Rush. So you would don Emporio, play this for free, and then Betty's just going to beef him up, making him a 7k Rush attack while you already have a 8k on field. Or, you don't have to, you can just give him 2 Dawn. You don't have to give him 3 Dawn. I'm bugging out. I'm used to just making cards 8k, but still very, very nice. Super good. We're going to get into the next card, which is our first trigger card, we have Bartholomew Kuma. He's not too crazy. He's pretty good for killing blockers if you decide to pair him up with the Koala. Basically, on play, he KOs a 2k or less. And for the trigger, you don't have to discard to play him. You just need a multicolored leader, which thankfully we are, and you play him. So he can probably be annoying if your opponent has lethal 1-drops, like, you know, I believe Pudding or Nami, they're 3Ks. He can just get rid of them early game, which is very nice, because while this deck is very aggressive, you can die fast. You are a 4-life leader, and you are discarding your hand to play some of these triggers, so be wary on that. Our next trigger card, we are running Lindenberg. Very good card. I like him a lot. He's another great removal if you don't see Bartholomew Kuma. Basically, when attacking, if this character has 7k or more power, you KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3 or less power. Now, this is good because, like with the paired with the Koala, you can just KO the big body blockers, which can be played off the Emporio Ivanov if that is a problem. All right, and our next trigger body is the Morle. Pretty good card. I like this. This card is actually very good. It's like Diable Jambe on legs. I hope I said that right. But we have Morle. When attacking, if this character has 7k or more power, your opponent cannot activate blocker during this battle, which is very nice. By the way, for these cards right here, you do have to discard a card if you get their trigger off, but it's a big payoff. Definitely a great card to just, if you need something to connect, he's gonna do it. Now this I actually haven't tested yet. I just added this in, but essentially these were originally the 4 Sabo SRs, which I actually have right here, and he just did not do much within this deck. There was never really a point where I thought, okay, I need to play Sabo now. It just never came up. So we're gonna test this out. It's basically a 3k counter which you can use on your leader or character. Then you play up to 1 Revolutionary Army character with 5k or less power from your hand. So now you're establishing a body on your opponent's turn, and if you hit the trigger, you can just play a Revolutionary Army from your hand. You don't have to discard, you just play it, which is very nice. On the defense, this is important. You know, instead of tapping 6 for your Sabo, you can always just keep 3 mana up for this to keep yourself on the defense. Hopefully you have some 2Ks in hand, but we're gonna try this out. We're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well. But our next, we're actually gonna go into the yellow cards now. The next yellow trigger card is Smoothie, and I do like this a lot. If you're gonna go for a game and you have 1 life left, you can just use this character with her attack effect, which is you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. This character gains 2k. So if you have 3 other bodies and her, you don't even have to use leader effect to beef her up, because she's just going to beef herself up naturally. If you want, you can do it, but it's just good to make everything stronger. She takes care of herself. Leader will take care of the other 3 battle cards. Very nice. We have our other 2Ks. We have a Satori. Nothing too crazy about him. He's just another 5k body that can come out with 2k combo, so not too bad. You do have to trash a card for both of these characters. That's really going to be the... Kuma was really the only body that you didn't need to trash to use, as well as the extra card. And then the next yellow card, we're playing with 4 Crackers. Now this card is so good seeing early game. If this is your first life you take and you play him, you're going to do a lot of damage. As long as they haven't established a blocker to take care of this. But hopefully you could remove it somehow. But this card is devastating. Seeing this early game is so good. Obviously, discard. For those of you who don't know, 1 Dawn. If you have less life than your opponent does, this card gains 1k and double attack. So that's a 7k double striker early game. Very nice. And then the final playset that we're running blocker Sanji's. You know, very generic card. Hopefully you want to hit this off life. Trash a card to play him. 5k blocker, which you can also beef up. Very nice. This is a very trigger heavy version of it. I don't think, maybe this deck can go the long game. I don't really know. I don't think it's meant to. But this is the version that I've had the most fun with. Just play sets of trigger cards and or cards that are just very annoying. Can play other cards, connect leader. Like, this is just the build that I find most enjoyable. Now, I want to run the Sabos. I really do, just because it fits well with the deck. But it just doesn't work for me. I thought about swapping the Sabos out for Rush Zoros, But I don't know. Like I said, this is still in the testing phase. We're going to see what happens. I'm still going to play a lot with this leader. This deck is super fun. And if people don't know what it does, then it just runs their pockets. And the alt arts for this deck just look amazing. But yeah, nonetheless, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'm hoping to upload some videos of this actually in play. So stay tuned for that. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.